Well, it's been a busy week for Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Also, the aspirants, this leading to some top politicians being axed from the 2022 August polls. And some are not giving up easily. We've seen the aspirant for Mombasa gubernatorial race, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, saying that he'll be moving to court, and also the presidential aspirants that include the Safina presidential aspirant Jimmy Wanjigi, we have Ruben Kigame, we have Ekuru Okot, who have also insisted that they'll be in the ballot, but they are also trusting the judiciary that will save the day. Also, this week we've seen the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party launch its manifesto officially, with some poking holes to it and also some supporting it. But we have a guest here who will help me tackle these issues, specifically the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party manifesto, because he is a supporter of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Karibu Alex. And my name is Rida Chebet Karing. You can engage with us Facebook and YouTube, Maisha Television Kenya, Instagram and Twitter at Maisha TV KE. Our phone number is 0746 999 We are expecting to have another guest here, Honorable Dennis Wakoli, who is the supporter of Kenya Kwanza coalition, but due to some circumstances he might be late, or maybe he might not join us. But for today currently we have Honorable Alex Wanzala. So Alex Wanzala, we've seen the events of the week, aspirants being cleared to run for different posts. Yes. We've seen Azimio la Umoja launching its manifesto officially. Just a brief of what is happening in the politics of the country.
Well, Chebet, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's always been a pleasure to be at Maisha Television. Chebet, we in Azimio la Umoja, for the last 2 weeks, we are in a very good mood. As you have seen, our presidential flag bearer, that is His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, was cleared by the IEBC, and that made an inception of transformation. It made an inception of a new change in this country. It made an inception of what we call economic revolution. It made an inception of what we call humanitarian revolution. It cuts across all the development aspects of this country. And I want to say that it also made a very clear way, we Azimio la Umoja, so that we have the confidence even in the IEBC. Remember very well, we have been having speculations on uncertainty matters, issue to do with the clearance, and also even the confidence itself in that particular body that carries the election. So I think the election now was started, and we believe in Azimio la Umoja that what we have put in place, the structures, the framework that we have put in place, we are going to take the day very early in the morning. And also that's to add on that day, on the it does not only make a mark to the new country, Kenya, in terms of government, but also Africa at large, because people are really embracing what we call leadership dimensions. Because you have had leadership for a very long time. You remember very well the tenure of Jubilee government. We have had a lot of constraints. We have had a lot of challenges, basically in terms of economy, in terms of also of unity as a country. But you see, the coming up of together of the Azimio la Umoja. First of all, we are going to change this country for betterness.
Well, so let's start with the manifesto, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya manifesto. Then the clearance of aspirants will come later. And I would like us to analyze just one by one. I know that you're the supporter of One Kenya, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, and I'm sure that you'll be able to install some knowledge. Maybe someone is not understanding what is contained in the document. Unajua Kenya wapendi kusoma sana. So we'll analyze one by one. And I'll start by the allocation, increase of the county government allocation to 35% of shareable revenue. This translates to about 749 billion as per the Division of Revenue Bill 2022, which puts the shareable revenue at 2.1 trillion shillings. And the bill is currently allocated 370 billion shillings. When you see these, the current allocation, which is 370 billion shillings to the counties, where will the additional 379 billion come from?
Chebet, first of all, we have been talking about saboteurs of economy of this country. And, with all due respect, I do respect members of parliament because that's where all these problems come from. You remember very well that the legislators of this country. And when you're talking about the revenue allocation, they're the only people who, can be able to change those particular figures you're telling me. Because, this country, it has resources, very full resources. If these resources can be able to be utilized in a very good manner, then we are not going to have all those constraints. Remember very well, the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, which was promulgated. Basically, when you're talking about devolution, you're talking about, resources being taken to the lower level of the country. You're talking about the counties, and those people who formulated that particular, article, they were fully aware of, the impact that particular article is going to create. When you read chapter 11, it's very clear on the devolution. So, Chebet, I think the issues to do with figures. And Raila Amolo Odinga has been talking about, money taken to the grassroots. We are talking about people who are getting, less wages. People who are getting, small wages by the end of the day. This money, when you are taking it to that particular level, it's going to reach even the farmers. Because when you look at the productivity rate of this particular country, and you see production in terms of agriculture contribute to the larger percentage of the GDP of this country. So I think it's going to affect us in a very big margin. So I think manifesto, and that one lies what we said as Miolo Moja, as Miolo Gatuzi. So, and I think it's just a continuation of the BBI. You remember very well on the BBI, we have been talking about increment percentage of 35%.
So, Azimio is planning.
Not really about the BBI because we do respect the jurisdiction of the courts. So here we are talking about the new policy, and that particular percentage. When you have an ideology cannot die. Unless you make yourself to be able to die by the end of the day. If you drop it, then it's going to die. But if you continue with that particular spirit of salvaging and saving the conscience of the people of this particular country, you remember very well, BAMBA has been talking about big particular money to go to the county level. We are talking, and you see, it is not also just about money. We have many other resources. So I think when we increase the percentage in terms of 35% from the current 15%, we have had a lot of concerns coming from that particular region. You have had even Western people complaining about, fertilizers. We have had the issues to do with subsidies of fertilizers. So I think farmers are going to get enough subsidies from that particular percentage, which is going at least to salvage their constraints that they are lamenting about. Even when you go to central Kenya, talk about the tea and coffee farmers, the same. And you also have those people who are pastoralists. We have been complaining about, the high rates and also the low prices of the meat, the meat they're selling to the Kenya Meat Commission. So I think it's going to curb all those challenges. Leaving aside even the Juakali industry in Nairobi and other particular cities, the Kenya Kwanza, they have been talking about, the Mama Mboga and the rest. This one is specifically to be able to salvage now the concept of Mama Mboga is facing, because Mama Mboga also has challenges. In terms of the taxes they are paying, they are getting those particular, vegetables at a high price, and they're selling them at a low price. So those are the kind of constraints BAMBA is going to solve.
And where is the difference between what you just explained and the bottom-up economic
model? No, you see, bottom-up economic model, you see, let me tell you, Chebet, we have gone into factuals. As Miolo Moja, we don't beat around the bush. I wish my brother was here, our colleague, to be able now to tell us exactly. And you see, I've been asking many questions about that. When you're talking about the bottom-up economic model, you are just saying from the bottom to up. You're not telling us exactly the kind of criteria you're going to put in place to be able to acquire that particular ideology you're telling us. But we are talking about increment of, devolution funds. That is something that is in the public domain. It is something that is tangible. You can be able to see it. The funds have been increased. But when you're talking about now from the bottom to up and you don't have the action, the factuals, then what are you telling us? It means you're lying to people. And these are some of the sentiments that the deputy president said when he was campaigning for Jubilee in 2017. By which the stadiums, which you were saying, they never accomplished because of the same things. It is time that Kenyans should not be able to buy, the ideology of, hypocrisy let us tell the people what they're supposed to know. You know, it's a matter of telling people factuals. So I think basically, now let me just go back. When members of parliament can be able to legislate or make a very good law in terms of this particular policy, it is possible. You see, just like I've told you, we have enough money in this particular country. If we are going to evade the issue to do with the corruption and not be able to take the, you know, the people who are responsible to court, and that particular money to be able to be recovered, that is the same challenge we are talking about, because the president said we are losing 2 billion every day. 2 billion every day, a sentiment coming from the head of state is not something to be able to, you know, to take it lightly. It means we are very serious in fighting corruption in this particular country. So I think, and you know, the framework Raila Amolo Odinga has been able to put in place to be able to curb, you know, this menace of corruption is going to make sure that particular fund we are talking about into the 35 increment to the county level is going to be achievable.
Yeah, and talking about corruption, there is another, let's say we are going to the second part of this manifesto, the Inua Jamii project, the 6,000 which ODM leader Raila Odinga is saying that it will be given to families, poor households. And we saw his deputy, Martha Karua, saying that that money will come from, because if you estimate that the 6,000 monthly stipend will be given to 2 million poor households, this would translate to about 144 billion shillings annually. And Karua was saying that this money will come from the money recovered from corruption. How sure are they that they will be able to manage to recover that money from corruption?
First of all, I don't have the exact figures that was recovered by that particular body of recovery of assets. But I think from the statistics that I had, we had a very good kind of money that was recovered in terms of, you know, grafts and other, you know, unnecessary things. So I think it is basically, and you see the issue to do with the protection welfare, the 6,000 people are talking about. You know, it is not everyone who is going to be given that particular 6,000. Basically, we are talking about those particular family which are in a stable condition. And we are talking about unstable condition. Remember very well, we are talking about the money of Wazes. People are criticizing that where is this money coming, where is it going to come from? And you see, we are having challenges in terms of economy. But believe me or not, it was established, and right now Wazes are getting their money. So I think we are going to have frameworks and structures in place, the way I told you last conversation, that are going to be put in place so that we cannot going to have this, because corruption starts even from that particular level. Some people can be able to say that we are coming from, you know, unstable families, and they are rich people, and so they can be able to get that particular 6,000. This one is going specifically for the, you know, unfortunate people in terms of classy, that is, you know, unstable. So that we are not going to have a lot of, and you see, Kenya Kwanza, Chebet, the last time I was here, I told you that when you have an ideology, and you see these people, they sat down and be able to cogitate within themselves before they realize that particular, you know, idea. It is not a matter of criticizing. You know, it's better you tell people, how can you be able to reach this particular level? But when you go out there in the rallies and you are starting to lie to people that thing cannot be achievable, you sell your manifesto. Don't criticize other people manifesto.
My main concern here is that they're saying that money will come from the recovered money from corruption. How sure are they? Because we've seen the different regimes coming saying that they will fight corruption, but at the end of the day, it's let me say that it's impossible. And now they are in case they're not able to fight corruption, where will they get the 6,000 shillings?
You know, Chebet, a government runs everything in the country, and the ministry and the dockets that we have, from the agriculture to the docket of devolution. And I think the president, as the head of state, knows exactly what he's talking about. And, you know, the recovery that you're talking about, this country, the way I've told you, we have enough resources. The only challenge you are facing as a country is that these resources, they are going to the pockets of other people. And you see, Raila Amolo Odinga, and you have it's your brain, Chebet, that we have never gotten the opportunity to lead this country. Almost 5 times you have been trying. And I think this one is going to mark a start of change in this country. Raila Amolo Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua, remember very well, these are people who have been fighting for the rights of the less unfortunate people of this particular country. We are talking about even our own rights as citizens of this country. He fought for the first liberation, he fought for the second liberation, he fought for multipartyism. And you see, when you take all this together, it brings you a conclusion that this is the man who can be able to lead this country to where it's supposed to be. And you see, the only where I go wrong with the deputy president, because you are telling us that you are going to improve the economy of this country if you are going to be elected the president. And you see, to me, it is rhetorically very funny by the end of the day, because we understand the president, the deputy president himself right now is in the office.
But he has no any power. He's just there to be given.
No, we have been seeing him attending the cabinet secretary meeting. We have been seeing him, cheering that committee that deals with the revolution, the revenue allocation of this particular country. So when you're telling us that, and you see, he's enjoying even the assets of the government. So which powers has he been, demoted? Chebet, let us stop all these hello balloons and hit the nail on the head. It is some time that Kenyans should be told the facts, because by the end of the day, we are going to put the same fellas who have been lying to people and who are not going to stabilize this particular country. Chebet, 50 years, more than 50 years plus of independence, and we are still facing the same challenges that we have been carrying all those years. It is something that should not be taken lightly in terms of governance in particular country. And that's why you have been seeing Azimio Moja, when you look at the entire framework of Azimio Moja leadership, the council, these are people who have zero tolerance in terms of corruption. These are people who have zero tolerance in terms of incompetency. That one you can be able to agree with me. And you see, it is time Kenyans should be able to give chance Raila Amolo Odinga to be able to, to bring to their attention that this thing is possible. It is totally possible by the end of the day.
Well, our viewers, I hope that you've heard from Honorable Alex Wanzala, and I'll just ask you the same question. Do you think that the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, if they manage to form the next government, will they be able to fight corruption, and will they be able to sustain issuing the 6,000 shillings, monthly shillings to 2 million poor households? You can send your answer to 0746 999 841. And now, Alex, moving on, Azimio has promised also free education from ECD all the way to the university, and the education budget is currently at around 460 billion shillings. And how much will it cost to offer free education to all?
Well, the issue to do with the free education, basically, you remember very well, even when the tenure of Jubilee government, when they said that we are going to have free education, basically, the government is going just to cut the cost of the tuition fee. And I think that's where the Kenyans are not understanding very well. All these other necessities, of course, our parents has an obligation to be able, under responsibility in terms of taking care of the student. But the government, what Raila Amolo Odinga and the Azimio team meant, it is basically the tuition fee that the government was talking about. And you see all across, because we have had, we have sections of schools, those are day schools. We have sections which are county and extra county schools and also national schools. And you see, when you look very critically, these schools, they have very big margins in terms of school fees, you see. And when we are talking about, candidates or students who are going to the national levels, for example, a school like Alliance High School or Sare Boys, in terms of capacity, because these are schools that has a national profile. So at least by the end of the day, you will come to realize, for example, here in Western, only two students have been able to be taken there. So it's a matter also of the national government and the county government to be able to work together to be able to achieve that particular ideology. So I think, just like I've told you, if a government has been able to establish a particular program, it's just like a project. You need to have the entire scope of the project you're talking about. So I think you cannot be able to establish or come up with the scope of a project, and you know very well that your budget estimations, they are inadequate. So I think the government itself, and that is Raila Amolo Odinga, will be able to put that into details. So remember very well, he just be able to framework. But I think this one is going to be taken into details so that Kenyans can be able to understand. But what I can be able to tell Kenyans is that we should not be able to buy, cheap propagandas and hypes coming from the opponents. The most important thing that people should be able to understand is that we meant well for the people.
The other time, free education, people were rejoicing, tumepata masomo ya bure, but then that cost was transferred to taxes. Do you think that Kenyans will be able to bear with taxes to cater for free education?
Well, I think that is the most challenges that we've been having for the last 10 years of the Jubilee government. Because if for sure you are going to, to cut, the maybe, for example, you have come with a program that is going to help the wananchi. Then, for example, even the issues with subsidy. You can be able to lie to people that you have cut the subsidy, and people are buying, for example, a candle right now is at 15 shillings. That one is not adding up. It means you are on the other side. So, but I think the government of that is going to be made by the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it is something that it has never happened before. It is a peculiar kind of structures, organized government that we believe, we as supporters of BAMBA, that is going to salvage the concerns of the people of this country, because people of this country have been lying for a very long time. Subsidies, we are told that the subsidies have gone down. For example, right now we are still buying maize, fertilizer of maize at 6,000, 5,800. What is that? And we are told that this subsidy have come up to 2,500. So people are being lied. But I do believe that the set that we are going to put in place is not going to be, a story or an illusion, but it's something to do with factuals.
Yeah, and just let us tackle the last part of.
And also, just to add on that, Chebet, and I think the government, just to add on the issue to the education, I think the government, if it has a very good international relation with other stakeholders, people who can be able to invest in terms of education in this country, and even donors, because we have donors outside there. And I think the government, if it has a very good relationship with those particular people, we are going to achieve that particular, ideology.
Just as we wind up the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya manifesto, there is another issue that ODM leader Raila Odinga raised, and it has really caused uproar in the public, and also received the opponents criticizing the move. He said that they are going to revive the local textile industries, and they want to ban mitumba. And so even he used another term there, that mitumba ni ya watu, the dead people. What is your take on this? Is it will it be good to ban another, let's say, mitumba sector and revive the local textile industries? Because also itakuwa ina affect kwingine wakisupport kwingine, and how sure are you that the local industrial textiles will be able to pick up?
Chebet, very well, and I think that one lies under the Azimio Jitihada. You see, it is right now it is very critical in terms of, because when you look at the constraints in terms of economy that we are facing, for example, the mitumba guys.
Yes.
You remember very well during the COVID-19 pandemic, they were getting those particular clothes across the seas, and you see, the problem was that when that particular pandemic struck, they had a lot of challenges in terms of, taking them to the country. So when Raila Amolo Odinga is talking about manufacturing those particular clothes here in this particular country of ours, by which we have the capability and the capacity to be able to do that, it is going to affect positively on both particular sides. We are talking about the traders, we are talking about the people who are called now the buyers themselves.
Yes.
Because these buyers, they are going to buy those particular clothes at a cost that is very affordable. We are talking about economical costs. Even the traders themselves, from the factories that are being manufactured, they're going to get them at a cost that is very affordable on their sides. Because right now, for example, I don't know how a bale of mitumba costs, but you have been seeing people complaining. Now the traders, not the people who are buying them. Because these people who are buying them, tunataka to buy mitumba because they are cheaper. But when we manufacture them in our own country, they're going to be cheaper. That's why the people don't understand.
Yes.
Cheap to cheaper. It's going to cut even a half budget of it. Because let me now be able to give the factors that people are understanding. Because the Kenya Kwanza, they are lamenting and criticizing this particular policy. They are telling people, how many times do you want our people to continue to put on this particular clothes of mitumba? And by the way, it is of the public domain that they are being second clothes from the seas. You see, it is going, and you see this particular program, not only is going to cast the cost in terms of economical, of the people who are buying it, but also creation of employment opportunities. Because, Chebet, if we are going to have every county with an initiated program, project of this particular manufacturers of this particular clothes, it means we are going to create a lot of employment of opportunities across the counties. That's where these people are not seeing it. And you see, the whole thing is positive from the top to the down, because, and you see, we have been talking about scholars. People have gone to school, they have papers, they need what we call white collar jobs. This is also going to create a very big platform in terms of white collar jobs, because we understand we have administrative works, we have managerial works, we have secretarial from those particular companies. So even the casual laborers, people who have not gone to school, they're going to get an opportunity. So it's going to cut across all the level and classes of social people of this particular country. So I think, Jabet, this project of BAMBA, it is something that Kenyans should be able to embrace it 100%, because we understand how positive is going to impact this particular country of ours. Yes.
Well, I think that we'll not be able to mention to discuss all of them, but I'll just go through them. Here are some of the highlights of Raila's 100 days plan in the office. Ensure that all the unemployed trained teachers are employed to enhance quality education for the children, and introduce a minimum return guarantee framework for farmers. Initiate the cash transfer of 6,000 to the 2 million vulnerable families. Support the revival of the tourism sector. Propose capital punishment for the offense of poaching, trafficking and possession of ivory. Strengthen the role of the National Treasury in accordance with the Article 225 of the Constitution. Implement the recognition of prior learning certification program to award certificates to artisans, craftsmen and technicians. Zero tolerance of corruption through signing of the anti-corruption charter by all Azimio elected members. And I think that's where Alex has really insisted that Raila Odinga will be able to fight corruption. Yes. And also expand programs that connect the youth to the digital economy global networks for employment. Improve terms of service for KDF personnel and police service. Establish a livestock insurance scheme backed by an appropriate legal framework, and also extend health services to hard-rich areas through BABA Care program. And that is also one of the things that ODM leader Raila Odinga has really been pushing for, the BABA Care program. So I think that we're going to put a pause for our first program there. This is PLG Politics, Leadership and Governance. My name is Rida Chebet Karing, and my guest today is Honorable Alex Wanzala. We are going for a short commercial break. We'll be coming right back. Stay tuned.